Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Football.
All right, welcome into the show. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, Declan Goff producing Purple Daily. Later on, we'll get to Justin Jefferson's comments on Kirk Cousins. I think a lot of people are trying to get Justin Jefferson to rip Kirk Cousins, and he hasn't taken the bait, so we'll play a clip of that later on. But we start the show off today with one of the greatest pass rushers in Vikings history. He's a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He once chased Dan Orlovsky through the back of the end zone for a safety, and his name is Jared Allen. What's up, Jared? Thanks for coming on, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. You guys staying thawed up there? Getting a little
there we go.
Now
Now we got you.
Oh, you got me? Okay. I was just making sure you guys were still warm and,
it's good. Glorious here. Glorious blizzard. Today is basically like it was the day that Brett Favre was knocked unconscious in 2010 at TCF Bank Stadium weather-wise. So
and getting colder too. So
hey, at least the dome won't collapse this time. They hear that one a little better.
So hey, before we dive in, and we would love a couple stories that we're going to tee you up for, but tell us about your partnership with Volvo. And by the way, speaking of chasing Dan Orlovsky to the back of the end zone, it sounds like you and Volvo are actually rooting for safeties to happen during the Super Bowl.
100%. So Volvo and I teamed up because I hold the NFL record for safeties, and they are historically probably hold the records in any car business for being one of the safest vehicles, if not the safest vehicle on the road. So we teamed up for their $2 million car giveaway. Last year was $1 million, no safeties, so they doubled that down to give basically, if there's a safety in this Sunday's Super Bowl, Volvo is going to give away $2 million worth of cars. You can go to VolvoSafetySunday.com and design your own car. And if you get chosen to win, you get the car you designed. So it's not like you're getting just like the base model. You can design whatever you want. Take them to the cleaners, I guess. And if there's a safety, they're going to give away a bunch of cars. And it's pretty cool. I mean, the whole thing, what I really like about it, honestly, is the $2 million. It's a big flashy number. Sounds good, but it really represents the $1 million from last year. The giveaway represents the number of lives they've been accredited of saving since the invention of the 3-point safety harness. So basically, every seatbelt in our cars today were actually invented by Volvo back in the 50s, and so that's been accredited to saving 1 million lives. And now they want to save 1 million more lives through technology and innovation, and with the Volvo brand and the Volvo cars. So it's a pretty cool deal. And they're just obviously and I look at it too as like, I think we need a safety more than anything, because like how cool would it be, however many cars that equates to being given away, like those people start 2021 on with like a brand new ride. Like that's awesome.
That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Just throw some confetti. Everybody's a winner.
So VolvoSafetySunday.com if you want to enter for your chance to win. And actually we would love, so a couple years back, this is where we'd love to start with you if you're down for it.
Yeah.
So a couple years back on our show, we had your former teammate, Steve Hutchinson. He came on and he just told his amazing version of the story of you guys and Ryan Longwell making an emergency trip down to Hattiesburg 10 years ago to pry Brett Favre out of retirement. We have his story and we have that in the archives. And he basically said we got there and Brett took a nap and it was kind of weird. What can you tell us your version of that story?
Yeah, you know what? Hutch did 99% of all the talking on that trip, which is weird because Hutch doesn't talk much, right? So like I was just kind of in the backseat chill. I was like, hey, we got a couple of days off of training camp. Brett, take your time. So yeah, we got down there and he's right. I mean, Brett pretty much was like chilled. I think we ate something. We grabbed a bite to eat. Probably enjoyed a cold beer, and Brett took a nap. So we just kind of hung around, and then I'm not sure what time we got. I think it was the next day. The next morning, we went and drove around the property in the Jeep. So now you got Brett driving, Hutch I think was up front, and I'm crammed in the back. You have big people, Longwell in the back. And they were talking his ear off, trying to get him to come back. And I'm just looking at this. I'm like, this is 500 acres of awesomeness. And I just told him, I was like, honestly, bro, like just stay retired. Like just stay retired. Like,
did you say that?
Matter of fact, I'm going to leave. I'm going to retire and come down here. I'll cut your grass for you. No, my point was that and Brett laughs about it. I told him, I was like, if you want to, there's no expectations. If you feel like you have more in the tank, right? He obviously had nothing else to prove. What does Brett Favre have left to prove, right? If you feel like we didn't finish with what we started the year before. If you feel like you have more competitive drive in the tank, come back. If not, I told him stay retired. Like just tell us no and we'll go because you could tell like he was in a spot where he obviously loves the game, and I think it's like anybody, he loved the game. And what you didn't want to do is you didn't want to pressure someone into coming back, and then 2010 happened. Like 2010 happened. No, obviously you can't put that all on one person, but yeah, man, it was we were down there. Not to mention, but we took off kind of in secrecy. Like the plane was, the flight plan was heading somewhere else, and then at the last minute, they changed the flight plan, and we went to Brett's place to try to avoid any media stuff, and. But yeah, it was Hutch and Longwell right as here, like, hey man, we got to come back. And there was nothing left for me to say, so I was just like, hey, either do or don't, but you can sleep on it one more night if you want. I'll chill in the guest room for one more night.
Wow.
I think we ended up sleeping in one of the daughters' rooms. Like I remember they had like a pink stage like set up in one of those daughters' rooms, and yeah, I think it was like a little twin bed.
Your legs are just like hanging over the edge of the bed.
Yeah, you're like, thanks a lot, Favre. Really appreciate these accommodations.
Yeah, where's the guest suite, Brett? Come on, bro.
No kidding.
Got it. I'm just. If we would stay too much longer, I would have had to get a workout in the gym. He's got that nice gym down at the house too. Can we get a sauna? Whatever. But no, it was funny. We got down there, and like I said, it was. But yeah, Hutch is right. We got there. It was like, I think we all thought it would be like more climatic. You're just like, all right, we're gonna go get Brett. We're gonna come back. We're gonna win the Super Bowl. We got there, and it was like, hey, anybody want a PB&J? And it's 4:30, so I'm gonna turn in before supper.
My ankle's still pretty sore and broken from 9 months ago.
He's still got a cane just hobbling around, and I'm like, oh no.
Hey, Jared, 10 years now. 10 years have passed since that epic year. As you look back now, retired, great career. What are some of your takeaways from a year that nobody, and I mean nobody, could have seen coming?
Man, I always tell people, as great as 2009 was, and I think what hurts the most about not finishing that 2009 run out, if we win the Super Bowl, I think that team gets talked about as one of the best teams in NFL history. I honestly do. At least top 5, top 10. Just because it was some of the games we won, it was so magical. It really was one of those special years, which we didn't complete it. So now we're just like, oh, remember when 2009 happened? You're like, tight. But now we talk about playing it. But 2010, as great as 2009 was, 2010 was the mirror image of that. That was the absolute. Just, are you kidding me? Like, how is this happening? You remember in 2009, Greg Lewis, we gave him the nickname Jiffy Lube because when Greg Lewis came in, he had this beard down to here. He literally looked like he just got done changing some dude's oil. And this dude been in the building for 4 days, makes like a one-handed behind the back grab, toe drag, both feet to win the game. We're like, what? To keep our season undefeated. So for every one of those in 2009, there was one of those the opposite way in 2010. So I just look at it as like, wow. I don't know what happened or why the good Lord wanted the collapse of this program to go down the way it did, but it really shook some people, and it was a mentally grinding year to try to stay focused on the task at hand, which is winning football games. I still remember when I got the call from Lawrence Tynes, of all people, called me at like 5 a.m. It was like, hey bro, we're in Kansas City right now and your dome is collapsed. And I'm like, dude, I even told him, I was like, bro, shut up. You're just trying to screw with me. Tell Deal I'm kicking his butt even worse today because you're screwing with me at 5 a.m. And he's like, no, we're in Kansas City. We've been sleeping at the dang airport all night. You didn't wake up. And all of a sudden, then we end up in Detroit, where they just let like homeless people in to watch the game. And it was just like, what is going on?
I love how things have not changed much for the Lions, by the way, over there. It's great.
No, oh my gosh, I got asked that question the other day. They said, do you think the Lions have a beard? I'm like,
no.
No, what is Detroit doing right now?
Do you watch much football? Are you still?
I don't. I watch more college football, right? I like watching college football. Problem is, I got young kids too, so for me to sit down and spend an entire day watching TV makes me feel really unproductive. And my girls, they don't care about football, so I usually catch up on scores. I'll watch a few pro games here and there, like playoffs and stuff. I enjoy watching the playoffs. Obviously, watch the Super Bowl. I try to catch, you know, a few tidbits, just enough to stay informed and kind of know what's going on. But no, I don't overly watch a bunch of football. So plus two, it's hard, it's hard. You go back and you see some of the, kind of the way the game is played. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some phenomenal players in this game too, but then there's also there's some extremely overhyped people right now. You just shake your head. You're like, holy crap, if I was playing in these days, they had to pay me $200 million.
Wait, okay, give us, like, burn a bridge for us. Like, who do you think's overhyped, or who do you think?
Oh, I'll never cast judgment publicly. Just I'll anybody in our D line room knows we hate it. We're haters, so we just drink Haterade all the time. No, I just look at, everybody's a specialist these days, right? You see guys with 8 sacks making Pro Bowls. You see guys, and you're like, I couldn't make a Pro Bowl unless I had 12 or more. You just look at the different variety. You see these inside guys that are like pass rush specialists now, and I got a lot of respect for the guys. I think Aaron Donald still should be the standard, right? And I think he is. But you see guys that, from an interior standpoint, getting paid, 15, 16, and they come in on third downs, and you're like, for me, I look at guys like Kevin Williams, who is insane. Like that body type doesn't, the Pat Williams of the world anymore don't really exist. I think Aaron Donald is one of the few still, 4 down, 3 down interior guys who can also rush the pad. Like the dude's a beast in the run game, and he has that mentality to earn. So I just think that old school dying breed. And listen, I get it. Like the guys who played before us said the same thing. As the game advances, you kind of get stuck in your generation or your bubble, your era.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I still appreciate the workload and the technique that it takes to be that physical presence up front. So that's just kind of what I mean by that. Or guys have 1 or 2 good years, and they get elevated to a standard that if you look back over the history of the league, it takes guys several years to get to. And honestly, it's quarterbacks are probably the number one. Quarterback has 1 good year in college, and he's the next Brett Favre or next whoever it is in the league. And I just think there still needs to be that rite of passage. You still need to earn your right to be at certain levels.
And you wouldn't come out of games too. Like now guys come out constantly in I recall you basically telling Les and Brad, I ain't coming out, you guys. And they'd be like, but it's rotation time.
That was my philosophy. And honestly, that's, kind of at the end of my career, minus the injuries, I blew my L5 out in Chicago and in Carolina, and then broke my foot. But that was the hardest thing for me to do I'm not a 30 snap guy. I'm not a 40 snap guy. I'm not going to come in on third down and then you're going to get this great rush, because, for me, rushing the passer it's a buildup, right? It's an art form. It's a game you play of setting a guy up for success. And if you come in one time, unless you just got some bum next to you, you're not going to necessarily win. And so for me, it's earning that right to rush the pass. I'm a 70 guy. I want to knock you out in the 8th. I'll take a first round knockout at a time, but I want to wear you down and break you down technically. And then once you find that thing, you're like, oh, now I got this guy, right? So yeah, I was an every down guy, and I used to tell Brad and those guys, you want to rest me Monday through Saturday. You want to get me 60, you want to get 60 snaps a day out of me in practice, and then you want me to rest. Then you want me to play 40. You pay me to play on Sunday. That doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, Jared, I know that you weren't. I know that the guy I'm going to bring up here was an offensive coach at the time, but you were around him presumably. Eric Bieniemy has been just getting a ton of head coaching steam over the years, and for people, there's a lot of people that watch this show that think, whenever the time is right, it'd be nice if Eric was the Vikings coach. For people that don't know him behind the scenes, what is he like, and do you think he would be a successful NFL head coach?
Yeah, he's intense, and I get this question a lot, over this media campaign. He's intense. Like, so first of all, I haven't seen EB, so I don't know if his coaching style has changed since I left. But Eric Bieniemy, I know, he's phenomenal. First of all, dude works his butt off. He's passionate about what he does. He's passionate about his players, and he's old school, right? Like, he doesn't care who you are. He will get in your face and call a spade, and I appreciate that. I appreciate accountability when people are being held accountable. Like I said, if AD missed the block, he let AD know he missed the block, and there was nothing to it. And so is that style of coaching still warranted in today's NFL, where everybody comes out of college thinking they're famous because of social media, or or everybody's a specialist, everybody has a certain plan? I don't know. I've been out for too long, but I think he's great. I love that tenacity. I love his passion. I love his, intensity for the game and his loyalty to his players. And so seeing him have success, I love seeing Stefanski have success because he was one of our guys. I see EB having success, although I got to be honest, he's in a really good situation. You have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, and you are going to win. EB might end up with more Super Bowl rings than Tom.
He's going to be like Josh McDaniels, almost took the Colts out of here. But Josh McDaniels is like, I'm just going to ride out this Brady thing for 10 years.
And keep stacking rings on my finger. And every time they pass him up, his price tag is just going to go higher and higher. So yeah, I think EB's phenomenal. I love to see the success he's had, just because I saw the work ethic and I saw what he put in, and I know and you saw the relationship him and Brad had, obviously coming from Philly and stuff too, and they used to fight as they get out. That's the kind of passion and fire you'd like to see from your staff, right? So I personally I love seeing all of our old Vikings coaches have success. Unfortunately, Coach Mason just got let go of Vanderbilt, but he was down here at Vanderbilt. Man, so it's been it's cool. So I hope he does. I heard I did a podcast last night, and they were talking about how we haven't filled our OC position, and they think they're going to try to, they're trying to steal, EB away. So I'm going to start that hype rumor, like EB, come back to Minnesota.
That's a good one. It's a great one. Hey, outside of Favre, the most talented Viking player that you played with was whom?
Oh, outside of Favre,
because Favre's probably one. So outside of him,
talent. It's a long list. Adrian is obviously off the cusp. To watch that guy, his physical presence. I've never seen a guy eat 2 quarts of Cold Stone ice cream and have 2% body fat. So I'm super jealous about that.
Just like me, actually.
Yeah, he has that ability that was second to none. It was scary. Yeah, man. But there's a few you obviously hats off to Hutch as well. And he's getting his ceremony this year. We made the Hall of Fame last year. That dude was as stout as they came as guard for a long time. Kevin Williams is one of my all-time favorite players. I don't think Kevin was so powerful and so good, but his movements were so methodical. He made it look effortlessly that I think sometimes he doesn't get, obviously he gets a lot of credit with 6-time All-Pro or something like that, but he doesn't get the credit he gives for, wrecking games. And then you throw Pat on top of that, So those are probably my handful of top guys. You got to throw Winfield in there. My goodness. But yeah, I think just if you got to pick one, Adrian was a special individual.
Well, listen, we want to be respectful of your time and direct people to VolvoSafetySunday.com. Before we say goodbye, are you still curling?
Yeah, it's on the back burner right now. I think I just got an email the other day. They're trying to, depends on where you live and can travel. They're opening up clubs. I don't know what the plan is, but yeah, stay the course, right? COVID put it on the back burner for a while, but when we can open up safely and get back at it, I still got a bet to win.
Nothing would make us happier than to see a flowing mullet in slow motion, just sliding down the ice in the Olympics with the Olympic tracksuit. Some chest hair coming out of it.
I'm like USA Curling. You got to make me the alternate at least. Just for the optics.
The look is fantastic. Are you kidding?
I have a silver medal from nationals. Come on,
dude. We got to make this happen.
I love it, Jared.
Who do we got to talk to? Who do we got to donate to? Come on.
If you need help getting this movement going, there are tens of thousands of Vikings fans that watch this show and listen to it every day that would gladly get behind you. So you let us know.
We got
the campaign
back a year. Let's keep it going.
The campaign, make curling cool. It's very simple.
And
make curling cool.
And I'm not going to be a slouch. I'm not going to embarrass myself. I practice my butt off. And people in the curling world know, wow, this dude came out and actually put in the work, and we were getting better. We were starting to win. I'm willing to do it. Obviously, I'm going to try to assemble my team and get there. But at the end of the day, I got to win a bet here. And if we need to shake that tree, we need to get this. This has got to be just on the ice.
Amen.
No question about it.
Jared Allen, Vikings and Pro Football Hall of Fame finalist and mullet extraordinaire. VolvoSafetySunday.com. You can design your car, and if there's a safety in the big game, then you're going to be in business. So, Jared, thanks for coming on, man. Super fun.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right. Jared Allen, he's the best.